Hello everyone. Today we are going to study the topic coding and decoding. So, what exactly is coding decoding? Coding is a process which is used to encrypt a word, a number in a particular code or pattern based on some set of rules. Whereas decoding is a process to decrypt the pattern into its original form from the given codes. Now, let's understand this a little bit more. What is a code? A code is a signal. That is, coding has always been used to transmit the messages in such a way that they are not ordinarily understood unless we actually decode them. And these messages can only be understood only by the receiver if he has the code key to actually decipher it. Thus, the coding decoding text is given to judge the candidate's ability to decipher the rule applied in coding. And this is the reason why this topic is particularly used in CLAT. The coding is generally based on alphabets and sometimes numerals are also used to code the messages. Now, there are a few tips which will help in solving the coding decoding question. So, let's know what they are. The first is read the question carefully and write down the key codes. So firstly, you need to read the question carefully and you need to actually write down all the hints or any kind of code which you can find. Next is you need to try to decode the coding given in the question. And for that, you must note that similar type of decoding can be applied to various questions as well. Next is you have to actually try to simplify the code by using the elimination method and remove the unwanted values. This is actually very important because it actually helps in various questions where there are, very basic understanding that alright, I can eliminate this option, I can eliminate this option, and so at the end you will actually get your answer. The last one is that solve more and more and practice more and more questions. So yes, practice makes a man perfect. So it's one of the most important tips. Let's move forward. Now, let's revise these tips and tricks with help of a question. Now, what does this question say? Okay. So in a certain code language, this particular line, that is given times simple plan, is written in this format. Tried solution plan great is actually written in this format. Garden system sister phone team is actually written in this format. Okay, so now what the thing is that we basically need to find the code for translate. So how to do this? Either it's this or this or this or this. So what's the answer? Now the answer is B. But let's find out how this answer came. So the number one step was first count the alphabets in the word translate, which is actually 9, and put 9 at the end. Because you can see here, like for example, given has 5 alphabets, so 5 is at the end. Similarly, all these numbers, the number of alphabets which they have is exactly similar to this number which is written at the end of the code, which each and every word has. The next step is put the last alphabet of translate before the digit 9. So now the code is what? E9 till now. And this is exactly what is done here, right? And the third step is, as observed above in all the phrases, the alphabet T is represented by this code. So we have to put this in the beginning of the code. So the answer is going to be this. That is @E9. This is going to be the answer. So this is option number B. Now here in this example, there are some points which we need to keep in mind. So let's revise this. So the points are that in the question it's seen that all the steps have 4 words starting with the alphabet G, T, S and T, and the codes basically have the symbols of these, right? Next is we just have to match between the first alphabet and the particular symbol is actually to be found out. So this is like common sense and we can actually see and relate that alright, this is the way we do it. Next is the next thing to observe is that the codes ending with the digits. This represents the total alphabets which are used in each word, and then we basically have to analyze the middle code in the word, and it reflects the last alphabet of their respective word. So let's move forward. I hope till here you understood it. Now, we actually have to understand what are the various types of coding and decoding methods. Though all the methods of coding cannot be identified, but still there are some major formats of coding, and they are coding based on alphabets, coding based on symbols and numbers, and coding based on renaming, coding based on groups of words, and miscellaneous. So let's now in today's class we are only going to discuss about the first type, and in the next lecture we'll try to finish up the rest of them. So let's begin. The first type is coding based on your alphabets. So the number one is reversal of alphabets. Now the alphabets of the word are reversed in such a way that the last letter in the code of the number which we are actually getting is actually the first letter in the original one. It's basically an easy format of coding as we can actually interpret, and it's the first thing to be looked when we are looking at a code. Okay. So let's see the question. The question says that in a certain code language, breakdown is actually written as this. So how are triangles written? Now the thing is that if I see breakdown, so B is the first letter here and B is the last here. Then R is the second here and R is the last here. Whereas N is the first one here, whereas N is the last one here. And similarly, the same pattern is going to be used in triangles as well. Therefore, option D is the correct option because I have written triangle as like this. Okay. So in this we have written triangles in this, like that is from left to right. Whereas in this I have written triangles from what? Right to left. Now, following the coding given above, triangles is coded as what? This. So this is the answer. Now let's move forward, and the next one is your opposite letters one. Now in the second type of coding, it's basically the use of opposite letters, right? So we can understand this type from the rule number 27. And what exactly is rule number 27? It informs us how to find out the opposite letters of the alphabets. Knowing the position value of each alphabet and using the second rule of rule number 27, we can easily find out if the word is coded in the opposite letter. Basically, in easy language, if I want to tell you, it basically says that in place of A, I'm going to write Z. Okay. In place of B, I'm going to write Y, and you just get the gist. Okay, this is exactly what we need to do. Let's understand this with the help of a question. So the question says that in a certain order, like basically in a certain code, the order is written in this format. Alright, so how is substitution going to be written? So basically the correct answer is going to be A. Now how the correct answer A is, let's find it out. So the word order is basically written like this. Now, in rule number 27, the opposite of L is O, the opposite of I is R, the opposite of W is R, and so on. Similarly, I'm going to write substitution like this. Correct? Correct. The next one is going to be preceding or the following one. Now, here basically what is going to happen is, in this type of questions, either the preceding or the following letter stands as the code letter for each of the letters of the given word. So basically what they want to say is that in place of A, I'm going to write B. In place of B, I'm going to write C. In place of C, I'm going to write D. In place of D, I'm going to write E, and so on. And this is how basically we use it. Okay. So let's solve a question and understand how we have to do it. So in a certain code language, temporary is written as this. So I have to write wonderful. So what we need to do is we have to see that, okay, in place of temporary, it's -1, so it's S, then it's +1, then it's -1, then in place of P, I'm writing Q, that is +1, then it's 0, then it's -1, then it's +1, -1, and +1. So this is the format which I am dealing in. Similarly, I'm going to write wonderful, and then I know that in place of W, I have to do -1, so I'll do that. Then O, I have to do +1, then -1, then +1, then 0, then -1, +1, -1, +1. So in this exact same pattern of plus and -1 and 0, I basically have to find out what to write in place of wonderful, and that is going to be this term. So now let's move forward, and the next one is your jumbling of letters. Now in jumbling of letters, basically what happens is that in this type of coding, the letters of the given word are moved in a particular format, and for the purpose of decoding, the same format is required to be followed. Now, in jumbling, also a series has to be there. That means there has to be a pattern. So let's understand this with the help of a question itself, right? Now, the thing is that in this question, they are saying that authority is written as this. So how to write designate? Let's find out. So basically the correct answer, to find the correct answer, just see this. That authority is written in this format. So you can actually see that, okay, A ko we have taken at the end, then U here, T here and all that, right? So we have basically done that. But this is exactly the format how I have to do designate. So exactly how the authority, how the letters in the authority are placed, I'm going to actually place the letters in the designate itself. And I will get an answer. Alright, so let's move on to the next one. The next one is adding up place value. So basically what happens when we add up place value? Let's find it out. So it is sometimes observed that the given word is coded in numerics, right? Generally, the place value of the letters used in the word are added up and the resultant sum is coded from like one of the given words which is there, right? Now, if the word cat is coded as 24, it's because of its place values and because we have added it up. Like, for example, CAT, okay. So, what is the place value of C? It's 3. What is the place value of A? It's 1. And what is the place value of T? It's 20. It's in the alphabet ABCD, alright. So, if I'm going to add it up, it's going to be what? 24. So, I have written cat as 24. Let's understand with the help of an example. Similarly, what is done here actually is that Madras is written as 56. So, how is Calcutta written? So, this is exactly what they are explaining. They are explaining that, okay, there is this Madras, so I'm going to write the place value, I'm going to add, so it's 56. And similarly, this is exactly what we have done for Calcutta. So, the answer is going to be 81. Now, the next one is that we have given two words and we basically have to find the code for the third one. Suppose, in place of number, we have written this, and in place of square, I've written this. So, what is going to be the code of the member? So, how am I supposed to actually solve this? Now, the thing is that whenever we observe the code word and the corresponding code, it's observed that the coding is neither in the form of opposite letters and nor it's like the place value wala system which we have right now studied, alright. Now, the only thing common between these two codes is the word that is what the one letter that is U and E, right? And these letters are coded as what? As P and A respectively. And it's actually done in both the words that are given, right? So their placement in the code corresponds to their position in the coded words. And like based on this information, what I can say is, so based on this information, I can say that, okay, the given letter is N and the code is E. U is coded as P. And similarly, I have actually found out all the coding of the given letters which are given. And so, once I know this, I know that from the table M is coded as R, E is coded as A and all this. So, my answer is going to be what? RARSAY. So, we have actually reached the end of our discussion and I hope you were able to digest everything till here. Let's take up the rest in the next lecture. Till then, do try solving the tests which are displayed on your screen. Thank you very much.